When we covered what clubs the best pros in the PGA Tour preferred throughout their bag, we decided not to stop there. We went deeper into the individual club types they are using, and in this video take a look at hybrid clubs, the club which has proved to be the saviour for all standards of golfers struggling to hit their long irons consistently well. We cover how many of the top 100 in the PGA Tour use hybrids, the most popular makes, models and lofts they choose, as well as comparing how many and why some of this elite group prefer the other alternatives to long irons they have, namely higher lofted fairway woods or driving irons. Welcome back to the Golfing Focus channel, everybody, and as part of our ongoing series of videos looking at what's in the bag of the best pros on tour, we're going to run through the details of the hybrids they prefer. So after this video, please check out our overall video where we go through the entire bag to reveal what the most popular 14 clubs and setups are among the best pros on tour. Looking at hybrids specifically for now, however, a question we often see coming up is whether pros actually use hybrids. Our analysis, however, found 31% of the top 100 PGA Tour pros use a hybrid, although none use more than one. Titleist and Callaway models are the most used hybrids, with 10 of this group choosing them. Callaway's Apex UW hybrid is the most popular on tour, with 6 pros using it, including Xander Schauffele and Sam Burns. 19 Degrees is the most common hybrid loft. With close to 1/3 of the very best players in the world using hybrids, it is comforting to know that they are also taking advantage of the help hybrids offer over traditional long irons when it comes to hitting their long shots consistently better. As is the case with everything though, when it comes to the pros, the story doesn't stop there. And a more in-depth look at what specific hybrids they use highlights once again the attention to detail that top players put into selecting their clubs. We took a similar in-depth look at both the fairway woods and driving irons being used by the top 100 PGA Tour pros, which you can see in the links in the top right of the screen now. And although 5 woods are a slightly more popular choice, hybrids are a definite mainstay amongst the best pros on tour. While 54 of the top 100 use a 5 wood or 7 wood, 36 choose 5 wood while 18 play a 7 wood, 6 of that group still choose to also add a hybrid to their bag. Matt Kuchar, for example, carries a 20-degree hybrid ping answer hybrid, in addition to his TaylorMade Stealth 18-degree 5 wood. So while more often than not it is the case that the top pros will be choosing between a higher numbered fairway wood or driving iron to add to their bag in preference to a hybrid, it is not always a binary decision. Further, the fact that nearly 1/3 of the top 100 that use hybrids include some of the very best players in the world, such as Jordan Spieth, Xander Schauffele and Sam Burns, shows they are a potential option for anyone. And while Callaway's Apex UW hybrid is the most used among this elite group, our in-depth analysis also showed 20 different models of hybrid being used by the 31 pros choosing to use them. The use of such a large number of different hybrid clubs therefore points to no one model being dominant among the top 100 pros. Briefly, before we get on to the lofts of hybrids this group are using, please once again hit that like button if you're finding this video helpful. Thanks for doing that, it's hugely appreciated and is a great indicator for us that we're producing content our audience finds valuable. Getting back to hybrids though, one of the intriguing things when looking at the ones used by the best PGA pros is that there is no set loft attached to an individual number of hybrid. While most tour players with hybrids in the bag will use them in place for a traditional 2 or 3 iron, it is not simply a case of automatically choosing an H2 or H3 hybrid. An analysis of the top 100 finds different pros using hybrids of loft 17 degrees, most closely aligned to a 2 iron or 4 wood loft, all the way up to 22 degrees, which comes close to the loft of a normal 4 iron at 24 degrees. Among the top pros we even find hybrids lofts as precise as 17.25 degrees, Patrick Rodgers, and 17.9 degrees, Adam Hadwin, which highlights the importance of not paying too much attention to the number on the hybrid itself. The most important thing when it comes to hybrids is distance rather than loft. And each of the pros will spend a huge amount of time choosing a hybrid loft rather than a hybrid number to let them hit the ball the yardage they want and with the correct gap to the club immediately above and below it in the bag. So if you're playing hybrids yourself, and we would recommend the vast majority of amateur golfers carry at least 2 if not 3 hybrids in their bag, it is worth paying attention to the yardage gaps you hit between them rather than automatically swapping out your 2, 3 and 4 iron, for example, for an H2, H3 or each 4. We have already noted that 31 out of the top 100 pros on the PGA Tour use hybrids. So when it comes to the question of do pros use hybrids, the answer is clearly yes. And in another one of our videos, we run through some practical guidelines you can work through to work out what hybrids you should carry in your own bag. But why don't more pros use hybrids? The answer to that, of course, comes down to personal preference, but specifically what it usually comes down to is whether a player is prioritising being able to work the ball over higher launch, spin and distance. Long irons, and often utility or driving irons when it comes to the irons in the bag hybrids typically will replace, are frequently preferred by pros who like to be able to draw the ball right to left or fade it left to right when they choose to. In other words, work the ball. With their increased thickness and centre of gravity further back from the club face, hybrids are not as effective in letting even the best players do that, so some pros will choose long irons over hybrids on that basis. But with their lower lofts and forward centres of gravity, long irons are correspondingly not as effective as higher numbered fairway woods or hybrids in letting players hit the ball high. And that can be a major problem in firmer courses where the pros need to be able to launch the ball high with high spin rates to hold very fast greens on a long par 3 or 2-shot par 5s. To solve this, pros will most often either opt for a higher lofted fairway wood or hybrid, and as the numbers show, more among the top 100 prefer the higher lofted fairway woods option. The reasons for that are again related to personal preference. But more precisely it can be because higher swing speed players, which the top pros are, often find hybrids make the ball turn left due to their slight draw bias as a result of them having more weight in the heel of the club. Higher lofted fairway woods by comparison will be more neutral at impact due to their larger heads and so will go straighter, which pros can prefer, especially off the tee. But with close to a third of the top 100 using hybrids, it is a reasonably close run thing, and luckily for the pros they can swap hybrids and high numbered fairway woods in and out of their bag whenever they want, and more importantly, at no cost. And at certain courses that means many of them will choose to add more hybrids rather than less. At the high rough and firm East course at Oak Hill for the 2023 US PGA, for example, former US Open champion Matt Fitzpatrick replaced his 4-iron with a hybrid to help him tackle both the rough and the fast fairways and greens. Other pros, of course, opted instead for a 7-wood and even tested 9-woods to tackle the same course, but this shows in certain conditions more pros than normal can end up playing hybrids. Interestingly, an article published a decade ago in Golf Works suggested hybrids were on their way out because the top pros would increasingly prefer the ability to work the ball offered by utility or driving irons over the benefits of hybrids. Given the numbers of the top 100 in the PGA Tour still using hybrids, however, that day seems a long way off still yet. So that's it for this look at the hybrids used by the top pros in the PGA Tour. As ever, and most importantly, we hope you're enjoying your golf. And if you like this video, tap on one of those boxes on the screen and we'll see you over there in another one shortly.